This is part 1 of reinstalling a metal bullnose corner after demolition. Today we're measuring, cutting, fastening, and reinforcing it with mesh tape for a strong bond between unlike materials. In part 1, the bullnose is secured, reinforced, and ready for finishing. In part 2, I'll show you how I build the coats, shape the radius, and blend everything so the repair disappears. If you want to see the finished result, part 2 is next. Here's how I cut a clean 90-degree turn into metal bullnose. If you're looking at the corner from the outside, the short side is on the right. On the short side, I measure up to 83 5/8 and mark it with a Sharpie. Right at that mark, I make a small slit in the flange. This gives the metal somewhere to start bending. I'm doing this from the inside of the bullnose. Trying to mark or cut this from the outside face makes it much harder to control. Now on the opposite side of the curve, I measure 3/4 of an inch above that height and make a second mark. Then I draw a smooth curve connecting those 2 points. That line shows me exactly how the bullnose needs to fold. If the right side is the short side, I start cutting from the upper 3/4 inch mark and follow the curve down toward the slit in the flange. If the left side is the short side, I do the opposite. I start cutting from the short mark itself and work my way up toward the 3/4 inch mark. The measurements stay the same either way. This just keeps the metal relaxed and makes the cut much easier to control. When I cut it, I don't force the snips. I take small, controlled cuts. That keeps the radius clean and lets the corner close up naturally. I start by positioning the bullnose firmly into the corner, making sure both edges are seated snug and straight. I always begin nailing in the middle. The bullnose is pre-perforated, so I drop a nail into one of the holes first. That way it stays in place while I hold the metal tight and tack the first nail. From there, I place a nail directly across from that first one, locking the bullnose into its optimal position. Next, I add 2 nails at the bottom, then 2 at the top, keeping an eye on alignment the entire time. Once the middle, bottom, and top are secured, I work my way in between those points, adding nails wherever the flange feels loose. Make sure the bullnose is fastened tight all the way down. If any spots are left floating, they'll pop when you start mudding later, and that's where frustration begins. For this repair, I'm using 20-minute quickset along with mesh tape. The quickset gives the corner strength and durability, and the mesh tape helps reinforce the joint between unlike materials. I begin by applying a solid bed of mud from floor to ceiling. Once everything is filled, I smooth it down firmly to create an even surface for the tape. Next, I apply the mesh tape. After tearing the tape, I press it firmly into the mud using a 6-inch knife. Then feather the edges so it blends smoothly into the wall. I repeat this process on both sides of the bullnose. I'll allow this to set up for the next coat, but about halfway through the cure, I come back and wipe down the edges of the repair, as well as the bullnose itself, removing any excess hot mud. Cleaning it at this stage is much easier than trying to scrape it once it's fully cured. This is the end of part 1. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful, please feel free to like the video and subscribe for more drywall-related content. Hit the notification bell so you can see when part 2 comes out, which will be soon.